Hello, hello everyone. I'm happy to be with you today. What a gift and blessing that we can be together in this way at this time. And I always like to begin with a prayer or a song or a poem. I think about these times, these moments that we're in, and I think about how we can really assist one another. What I was thinking about today was about celebration, the ability to celebrate, but also about progress and celebration, but also our ancestors and about power and right use of power. And so I would like to begin with sending a prayer of gratitude and thanks to the spirits of land and place, and to all of the human beings that are currently sending a voice and standing, making a stand, knowing what it is that they stand for, what it is that they won't stand for. And I ask for their guidance and protection and well-being. And I'm so grateful that everyone is able to maintain progress in a positive and beneficial direction. And so for that, I am grateful. For that, I am grateful. And so I was thinking about Obama had the NewYorkTimes.com had this 2020 about Juneteenth, and Juneteenth has never been a celebration of victory, he says, or an acceptance of the way things are. It's a celebration of progress. It's an affirmation that despite the most painful parts of our history, change is possible. And there's still so much work to do. So he says Juneteenth has never been a celebration of victory or an acceptance of the way things are. It's a celebration of progress. And I was really called, it was interesting, I was thinking about celebration and what it means to celebrate. And I think that sometimes we're striving and we're caught up in our striving that we don't always remember that, this is a landmark, or this is a place where we need to pause and honor and recognize and celebrate. So I appreciate that it's a celebration of progress and that we can be in our celebration of process. And it is an affirmation that despite the most painful parts of our history, change is possible. And there is still so much work to do, President Barack Obama. And so in the spirit of that celebration of progress, I'm thinking about in each of our lives and in all of our lives, where is it? Where is it that we've made progress? Where is it that we have had that experience of progressing? And then how can we, have these different milestones, have these different places where we're able to, raise a glass, to toast the progress that we're making, or to recognize it together. One of the ways I like to do that is through acknowledgement, just the simple process of acknowledgement and stating that we have been impacted, stating that we've done something together or we've accomplished something. I have a student and a mentee, and she just finished her last class the other day, and she was here, and we were practicing some, I guess it's sharing your pod. She's one of the people who shares a pod. So she's not only a student, but also she is apprenticing. Saffron is here, my kitty. So I'm petting her. Hi, Saffron. Hi. Hi. Meow. And she's completing. She's had this huge completion. She just finished college, and she just I had her last class the other day, and it was this celebration, and I gave her this gift and this card, and it was just simply celebrating that this progress. Now, there's many more steps that have to be taken, so many more steps that have to be taken, but but it's so many different steps that need to be taken still, and all of the different steps that Saffron is really wants to be a part of the video today. So she's sitting on the book that I was going to read to you guys. This is great. I'm going to show you. You're sitting on the floor. So when I think about that, I think about, well, these things happen step by step. This is we're in a step by step process, and that everything happens one step at a time. And so then we have to ask ourselves, like, well, what is the next step? What is the step? What is our next indicated step in order to make more progress? But we also want to be able to celebrate the last step and the victory of that progress. So I'm really, really grateful for this posting and for these words from the President Barack Obama. And so what we need also is we need to be able to create a sense of safety and a sense of well-being in our lives. We need to be able to make progress toward what is going to be a creation of a safe container and safety for all beings, for all human beings. And, how do we do that? I appreciate what Dr. Mark Brady says. He says, neuroscience, he's a neuroscience educator, and he says people's brains and bodies need the safety and security of a community in order to rewire and function in healthy ways. So Dr. Mark Brady, neuroscience educator, says people's brains and bodies need the safety and security of a community in order to rewire and function in healthy ways. And so I'm seeing progress toward that. I'm seeing progress toward this creation of community. And one of the things, I have a colleague in England, and he is a psychologist, and he has been doing a lot of work around loneliness and healing loneliness and addressing loneliness, and how what we need is we need to be connected. And how do we connect in ways that allow us to, I think I liked what Esma Manakem says, that he says that there's this settling into the body, that we want to be able to settle into our own bodies, and then we want to be able to settle into our bodies together. And so I was thinking about that. And I was also thinking about, well, how do we create security in community? And I think a lot of it has to do with what the Dalai Lama tweeted today. And I love this, like, oh, the Dalai Lama tweets. I love that. I love that he tweets. But what he tweeted today, he said it's about, as a result of material development and modern education, people commonly seek happiness in external things, but neglect their minds. True, lasting happiness depends on our taming our unruly minds. And I also think taming our unruly feelings, and not splashing our feelings onto other people, or destroying people and places and things with our feelings. That our feelings are there as messengers and to tell us things, but what we need to do is be listening to the message that they're telling us, and asking, like, is this a current message? Is this a message from the past? Is this a current message? Is this a message for my body to learn how to heal? And I like that when a feeling happens, feeling is healing, and that we have the opportunity to heal. One of the things that Angela said that I really appreciated is that whenever a pattern is about to be broken, it will fight for its life, right? And so when we're about to break a pattern in our lives, all of the things come up, all of the things about the pattern come up, all of the experiences about the pattern comes up, all of the memories. And so what we have the opportunity to do is we have the opportunity to say, we're about to break a major pattern here, and we need to engage at a different level and from a different place and from our bodies, from a deep place within ourselves, like a knowing, and that we need to make a contact with ourselves so that we are really operating from the heart, but also from a place of, from our gut, from our heart, from our consciousness, from our soul, and from a soulful place. And so I think that, you know, what is essential at this time is that we're meeting from a soulful place. And when I think of a soulful place, I think of my ancestors. I think of all of, when I think of that place, when I think of the most soulful place, I think of my ancestors. And I really, this is a piece by Leticia Nieto. And she wrote this book, Beyond Inclusion, with Margot F. Boyer, Liz Goodwin, Garth R. Johnson, and Laurel Collier Smith. And this is a book that I really love. It's one of my textbooks for my leadership and mentorship course, but it's called Beyond Inclusion, Beyond Empowerment, a developmental strategy to liberate everyone. Beautiful book. And this poem is from page 173. This is a poem by Leticia Nieto. And it reminds me of the ancestors. It is about the ancestors and to the ancestors. And it says, we have led the all-knowing processions. It is necessary now to murmur, we are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones. So groan the groans faint with sentiment. At the edge of the towns, we are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones. No turning pale in the face of parched music. It tastes good to listen. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones. Leticia Nieto, Leticia Nieto. And so when I think of, I love how the cat always like the babies like sitting on the books. As long as they're kind of in the way of your hand, you know, and then they can get some petting. That's the ancestors and accessing the ancestors, because what the ancestors are asking us is they're asking us, you know, are you the ones? And in Angeles Arian's book, this is one of my mentors. And she wrote a book called The Fourfold Way by Angeles Arian. And in her book, on page 114 in The Fourfold Way, she says, this is an old European ancestral song passed down through an oral tradition that clearly states how ancestors may support us. So this is an old European ancestral song passed down through an oral tradition, and it clearly states how ancestors may support us. Oh, may this be the one who will bring forward the good, the true, and the beautiful in our family lineage. Oh, may this be the one who will break the harmful family patterns or the harmful nation patterns. Oh, may this be the one who will bring forward the good, the true, and the beautiful in our family lineage. Oh, may this be the one who will break the harmful family patterns or harmful nation patterns. And so in this European ancestral song, it reminds me also of Leticia Nieto's piece that she had wrote, about the ones. And so we are the ones, we are the ones, and we are the ones to break the harmful family patterns and to break the harmful nation patterns and to have a new experience that brings forward the good, the true, and the beautiful, the good, the true, and the lasting. And we can do this through something called right use of power. So we can go to the ancestors. So how do I go to the ancestors? How am I going to go to the ancestors? Well, one of the things I like to do is, there's this saying, sometimes people will be like, oh, go fly a kite. Or, oh, go, go take a walk, And I think that's one of the things that we've been doing. And I think that it's one of the things that we can be doing. I'm having a memory right now of being in Bali. I have the holy privilege of taking groups and teaching in Bali. And I thank Dina Love for that, and Everett and Sam, they brought me there for that very first time. But since then, I've been going, and there's a special time of year where they fly kites, and you see all the kites, and it looks like the air is filled with these beautiful birds that are actually kites. That is done for fun, and their ancestors have been doing it for so long, and they continue to do it in this season. But I appreciate also in the fourfold way, she's also talking about right use of power. So there are these different aspects of the leader. And so in leadership, what we really want and what we really need and what we really need to be if we're going to be in leadership is we really need to know what right use of power is. And we need to be able to have access to a guidance system that will assist us in discovering what that right use of power is. And so in leadership, the leadership is what she would call the way of the warrior. And so how can I be in that way of the warrior? Well, one of the things I know is that I want to be in my three powers. And so she goes into the three powers, and one of the three powers is the power of presence. Like, can I be present? Can I be engaged? Can I be in this conversation? And one of the other powers is the conversation, is about communication. And so we know that we're with a gifted leader if we they walk into a room and we're like, oh, someone has entered the room, there's a power of presence. We also know when someone has entered the room and there is the power of communication, we understand what it is that they're saying, and then the power of position. They know where they stand, they know where they don't stand, they know what they won't stand for. And that's, I believe, what we're really being called to do at this time in order to break the harmful nation patterns and the harmful ancestral patterns. And there's so much healing to do. And can we extend a great and loving kindness toward ourselves and toward one another as we are all being called to make these changes? And that is one of the only things that we can be sure of is that things will change. And we want to acknowledge that, yes, things are changing and that we can be a part of that positive change. And so when I think about this, I think about those three powers, and then I think about what is a right use of power. So right use of power, we all have people that we feel have right use of power. And so, perhaps studying that person or, looking at, how did they live their lives? And it could be anyone from a grandfather to, a leader, to a civil rights leader, to an author or a poet that you admire or love, to an artist. So whoever it is, whatever that quality is of right use of power, just recognizing who is that, who is it that I would want to follow, and then to remember that what we can do is all we can really do is to celebrate our progress at this time, to celebrate our progress at this time. So what is the progress that is being made, although we do have a long way to go? And so thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I appreciate this quote that says by William A. Ward, and it says, Creator gave you the gift of 86,400 seconds today. Have you used one to say thank you? So I thank you for your work, and I look forward to our conversation next Wednesday. Thank you.